Britain's Scott Williams had a rapid rise in the world of professional darts, but perhaps his biggest achievement to date was overshadowed by a shocking incident which made many German fans hate him. Hello and welcome back to the Darts World channel. Today, we're going to take a look at how Scott did so well without technically being a professional in the early stages of his career, and then how that controversy played out during the World Championships at Ali Pali. Back in 2019, Williams managed to beat Wes Newton and Andrew Catterley to qualify for the 2020 BDO World Championship. In the event, which took place at the O2 in London, Scott lost 3-0 to Australia's Justin Thompson with an average of 82 in the prelim round. After failing to win a card at Q School and being forced to play in the Challenge Tour in both 2020 and 2021, Scott had a third attempt at winning a card in 2022, but he was again unsuccessful, failing to make it past the last 64 on any of the 4 days. But that might have been a blessing in disguise, as in that year, Scott managed to win 4 Challenge Tour events, which saw him finish top on the Challenge Tour Order of Merit, securing a 2-year tour card. However, Scott instead got his tour card through the main Order of Merit, as he received several call-ups for Players' Championship events throughout the year, one of which he won after beating Nathan Aspinall in the final despite not having a tour card. He also managed to qualify for the Grand Slam, where he caused controversy by jokingly swearing at Luke Humphries from behind. At the end of the year, he had his Ali Pali debut and impressively averaged 100 to beat Ryan Joyce before losing to Rob Cross. During that event, he swore in a TV interview and later joked that he could set up a standing order to the DRA to pay the fines. A year later, at Ali Pali, he would make an even worse interview error. After a dream 2022 season, he had a tougher 2023 in his first year with a tour card, but he had a highlight towards the end of the year when he reached his first Eurotour semi-final at the Hungarian Darts Trophy. For his second PDC World Championship, Williams got one of the tougher draws in the first round, as he had to face PDC Asian champion Haruki Muramatsu, who formerly held a tour card and was set for his 5th Ali Pali appearance. But Scott dealt with the challenge well, managing to win 3-1 after taking out 127 on the ball. He'd only just about averaged over 90, but was now through to the second round for the second year in a row and could now grow into the event. He caused some controversy earlier in the game, going for a no-look 180, which he spectacularly failed at, whilst Haruki was on a relatively low score. When asked about it, Scott said that people knew who he was and had seen those things, and that Haruki knew he was going to do something stupid at some point. He said that he'd do it again, and that if people didn't like it, they should have turned the TV to Emmerdale. Williams couldn't afford to be stupid in round 2, as he had to face number 7 seed Danny Noppert, who had reached the semi-finals of the European Championships a few weeks earlier. Noppert was the heavy favourite with bookmakers, with average odds of 1.4 compared to 2.95 for Williams. But it was Scott who managed to get the win, the biggest of his career to that point, winning the first 2 sets in deciders before taking the third and final one 3-1. He'd upped his average to 94 and produced another entertaining moment, wiring double 18 for a 9-darter in the final set. That was a big win for Williams, and it set up a third round clash with the 27th seed Martin Schindler, who was in good form and many fancied to go on a good run. Ahead of that clash, the German was quoted as saying that Williams was definitely a better draw than Noppert, and that it might have been lucky for him that the Dutchman had been knocked out. That was probably true, as Schindler headed into the round 3 game as the 1.5 favourite, but not every player would admit it, with Williams still being given a good chance with odds of 2.52. You'd assume as a Brit playing in London, Williams will get the full support of the packed out Ali Pali crowd, but as there always has been in recent years, many German fans were present, creating a split atmosphere. And it was the Germans who were happier in the early stages, as Martin managed to win 6 of the first 7 legs to move halfway to a win in the first of 4-set match. But in the tense atmosphere, with many German fans booing him, Scott managed to win the next 2 sets, securing set 4 in the deciding leg to draw the game level at 2 apiece. The next 2 sets were split, sending the great game to a deciding 7th set. As much as it was a great game to that point, neutral fans were angry with the way in which both players were being booed when on doubles and felt that the PDC had to do something about it. It was England's Williams who managed to win that all-important set, coming through a tie-break before throwing his darts away in celebration. The Brit had averaged less than the German, but finished slightly better to reach the last 16 of a PDC major for only the second time. Then came the controversy, as Scott said this in an interview.
Sum up how much this means to you. That was an utterly ridiculous contest.
I mean, that was unbelievable. Like, the game itself, for a neutral, was unbelievable. For the crowd, I've never had the crowd on my side like that. I know we won 2 World Worlds and 1 World Cup, but that was, the German fans in here is huge. All I can hear was them, these guys. Oh, what a game.
For those who don't know, Williams quoted a famous football chant which referred to England's wins over Germany in World War I and II, as well as in the final of the 1966 Football World Cup. Sky Sports were forced to issue an apology, with Emma Payton reading out the following message live on air shortly after the interview. It was Scott Williams who held his nerve. He's the man who goes through to the last 16 for the first time in his career. He was just a little bit happy with it, wasn't he? We just have to apologise if any of the language offended you there. Emotions are running high this afternoon. After the controversial comments, Scott tweeted saying that he'd received some nasty messages from German fans, but that he understood why. He said that absolutely nothing was personal, just a bit of jeering and jesting with the crowd. He ended the tweet by saying that he was British and proud. He then directly referenced the comments, calling it a bit stupid. He said that he loved the German people, food and venues, and that the comment was in the heat of the moment after a wicked game. He said that he hadn't meant to harm anyone's feelings and apologised profusely, signing off with much love. Schindler didn't comment on the interview comments, but said that he didn't like how Scott had worked up the crowd during the game, saying that it wasn't a nice move. Despite all the noise around the scandal, Scott was still in the event and through to the last 16, where he once again was not the favourite in his game, this time against Australia's number 1, Damon Heta. However, it was once again Williams who managed to win, moving through to the quarterfinals, having just dropped 1 set against the Heat. Following that win, Williams joked that he couldn't say too much in the interview because he'd get himself in trouble. He also added that he'd been advised to come off of social media after the comments and has since deleted his Twitter account, which still is not back up. His quarter-final opponent was none other than second seed, 3-time world champ Michael van Gerwen, and the bookmakers predicted a landslide MVG win, with some giving odds of up to 10-1 for a Williams victory. But the unthinkable happened, and Scott averaged 96 to beat an out-of-sorts Michael 5-3. Michael hit just 29% of his doubles, and it was rumoured that he was struggling with a stomach bug during the uncharacteristic display, which also reportedly caused him to skip media commitments following the devastating loss. Scott was then knocked out in the semis, being whitewashed by eventual champion Luke Humphries, but it had been a great run for him, and he picked up £100,000 in ranking prize money. So far this year, Scott has averaged just 91 in the Players' Championship events, and appeared in just 1 Euro Tour, failing to back up his run at Ali Pali, but he clearly has the talent to do so. I still think Scott can be a steady top 32 player over the coming years, but let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, also, please don't forget to subscribe, as currently just 15% of you are, and it really helps the channel out. Also, hit the bell icon so that you get notified whenever I upload a brand new darts video.